So I'm very, very happy that I see still so many people around after this long day, but I understand why, because I mean, if you see the distinguished panel here, this is quite an impressive composition of the panel. So I'm really, really honored. And let me just start with a very brief introduction of the panelists. And because we are really late in terms of time, I understand we have more or less only 1 hour, not 1 hour 15 as we planned. And so I'll just go quickly introducing the panel, then set a little context to our discussion, and then we just have first round of introductory remarks. And I would really like to leave a little bit time also for your final questions, because this is the end of the day. I'm sure everybody has lots of ideas and lots of thoughts after all these panels today, and so I would like you to have the chance and not to go home feeling that you didn't have that chance. So let me first introduce Kornely Kakachia, who is the professor of political science at Tbilisi State University. And you are also director of the Georgian Institute of Politics, which is the Tbilisi-based think tank. Then next is Romanian political director, Iosiper. So very, very happy to have you here, and who is the main driver behind the future Black Sea strategy that is going to be drafted in the European Union. Don't be shy, we know that you are. Then we have a third panelist, Mr. Tacan Ildem, who is the chairman of the Center for Economics and Foreign Policy Studies, EDAM, Turkish think tank, but of course everybody knows you as a former Secretary General of NATO, and you have been working also, served as Turkish ambassador in various places, including Netherlands, NATO, OSCE, so a person with a very, very distinguished career. And then Mr. Maksym Kyiak, who is the Kuras Institute, representing Kuras Institute of Political and Ethnic Studies of the National Academy of Sciences of Ukraine. So we have basically all candidate countries around the Black Sea and some member states represented here. So it's going to be an interesting one. And just to start, let me just make a little remark. I've been working in Brussels in and out for more than 15 years, including regarding the regions. To be honest, about the Black Sea, there are hardly any discussions. I just, for fun, checked a little bit our main key documents. Maybe the first security document, the more comprehensive, was a global strategy, 2016. How many times was Black Sea mentioned? Once. The document was, how many pages? Let me quickly see. It was 60 pages. Black Sea mentioned once. 6 years later, the EU adopted strategic compass, which is now the absolute cornerstone of the security policy of the European Union. Major rise of attention, 100%. Black Sea was mentioned twice. So, big achievement. NATO strategic concept, adopted the same year. 49 paragraphs. Black Sea mentioned how many times? Once. In the same paragraph with Sahel, Middle East, Indo-Pacific. Basically, together with all other partners, of course, stressing the strategic importance of Black Sea. But I mean, this kind of gives you the context. Then Vilnius Declaration, 2023. Again, major rise, mentioned twice in the same paragraph, but at least 2 sentences already. So we see that the attention is rising. And now, of course, what is the big game changer, I think, for us and for everyone else, is not the actual Russia's aggression. Because to be honest, in all of those contexts, the Black Sea is defined through the Russia's presence and malign activities anyway, in all of those documents that I mentioned. But I think the main game changer will be the enlargement. And if you see now, suddenly, the Black Sea is getting more and more attention from both from the NATO and from the EU side. We see that there is a new EU maritime strategy, which is, of course, focusing on Black Sea, among other things. They have their council conclusions on the maritime security, where the Black Sea was very, very, of course, the focus was there. Then we have now the plans to draft a new Black Sea security strategy for the European Union. So the war has changed the context and the attention, but of course even more so the logic that the EU finally lifted the glass ceiling for the Black Sea states. And in addition to Bulgaria and Romania, that were the members of both organizations, finally we have the rest except Russia as candidate countries. We of course know that the relations and the space of and speed of relations is very different with all of those countries, but there is this clear tendency, clear understanding also now from the side of the EU that this is the major strategically important region for the European Union. European Union would like to enlarge and expand its presence in the Black Sea, especially because we understand that we somehow have to deal with the Russia's expansionist policies. And we, of course, everybody acknowledges the enormous economic potential of the region. We have to now simply understand that in the context of the region being so important, that where are the problems for the European Union to actually really engage, because at least now we acknowledge that we have to engage. And so we had an agreement that first we give the floor to the Georgian and I understand you are not the state representatives, but academics. First the Georgian and Ukrainian representatives, as being from the EU candidate countries, and then we have a Romanian and Turkish representative representing both organizations. And I would just really actually pose the same question to all of you. From your point of view, what are the main challenges and opportunities? And of course, how do we overcome them? And I really ask, please be short, 5 to 7 minutes each, and then we get to the questions. Thank you very much. Let's start with you.
Thank you very much for the invitation and for organizing this very important panel. And I think I will agree with you that from EU side, there was not enough attention towards region. And it's not EU, actually. We last year, we published together with several European and non-European authors the book on Black Sea security. And we looked to the academic literature. And actually, there was no book or any scientific article published last 12 or 13 years, and that's a major issue. So, and especially this is very important now because after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, basically the Black Sea became kind of battleground, for different, major, different powers. Before there was like European Union, United States, NATO, Russia, and then now you have more even involvement from China and some other countries, like even Iran is trying to somehow, to use these corridors through the Black Sea. And it means that there's a much bigger power competition in the region. At the same time, of course, we don't know when and how this war will be over in Ukraine. But one thing, what we already know, that the fate of Ukraine will decide a lot of things in this region. It's not only for Ukraine, but it will impact also European security and regional security as well. And I think that means that since, as you mentioned, there are some countries now who are already like member, like Romania, Bulgaria. But this time EU needs to become real geopolitical, like not in just with the statement, but in real terms. And I think this is where there's a lack of vision sometimes. At least this is how we see in the region from the EU side, because sometimes EU has this kind of too competitive kind of project, and they don't know what to do with this Eastern Partnership, which is became less relevant now, and they still keep it for some political reasons, but at the same time, and then comes this Black Sea kind of strategy, and then they don't know which one to prioritize. Of course, each one has its own kind of merits, but I think that Black Sea is becoming very important for obvious reasons. I know that there are several issues why, unlike, for instance, Eastern Partnership, EU is reluctant to engage in this region because you like it or not, but there's some countries, especially if you're starting and when you're drafting this EU strategy, there are some countries with whom you need to engage. This is namely Turkey and Russia. And sometimes it may not be easy to work with these countries, especially after the war. But major thing is that after the war, it will be very important to work how to stabilize this region, and this will be a very huge task. And I think the EU has to have here major role because it's 3 candidate countries, the member states, and of course there will be some involvement from NATO, but that's more from military point of view. But I think that in terms of we have to also see this in terms of enlargement, because this time when region was seeing kind of like gray zone between Russia and EU is over, and now I think EU also needs to think how to how to to invest in the stability of the region. And of course, there's as far as the opportunities, there's so many things can be done. First of all, you can initiate some sort of regional, I would say, initiatives. Something like there was this Balkan kind of stability pact or similar like this. And also, you already started actually, and that's a good news that EU realizes why this Black Sea is important, especially initiative like this connectivity, activities, especially to use these milk corridors through South Caucasus, through Georgia, Azerbaijan, and to link it with Central Asia. Of course, it's also maritime security, which is also becomes very important because it was mentioned many times. The Black Sea is one of the main provider of the grain, especially Ukraine is very important in that terms. And of course, you still have in this region, Russia, which is a major, I would say, spoiler of this regional security right now. And I think that means that EU also has to come with some sort of, how to say, this new strategy, how they want to boost economic and as well as security cooperation in long term. And I think maybe the colleagues will talk about this a little bit more, how the EU is going to see this. But also it's very important that, to engage the all littoral and also non-littoral states, because we should not just see, and I think this concept of the wider Black Sea region is very important, and to involve here the countries like Armenia, Azerbaijan, and some others, related who may have this, interest towards this region. And I think also this comprehensive security will be one of the important things. It's not just, we also need to think about, ecology, some other, issues, but also there's several projects now undergoing, including this Black Sea cable, some others which actually promoted by some EU member states and some, regional countries. And I think there's some role there for EU as well in terms of how to help this, but also it means that you cannot. EU also needs to beef up its little bit more its its image in terms of security provider. And we know that EU has UMM in Georgia and EU also observer mission in Armenia. But I think security and the foothold in this region is very important, especially in terms of EU presence there. And I think this could be also the part of this strategy. And I would also maybe at the end just to encourage the people who is working on this project, maybe they should also before they publish this document also to engage with these regional states and to talk with the academics, think tanks, governmental structures, just to get these feedbacks and how to improve this in order to make it more efficient and very strategic looking. And I'll stop here, and we will have more. I hope we will have some more time to discuss it later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Maksym, you have the floor, and we understand that I just when I was preparing for the panel, I was reading one of the articles who actually praised Ukraine for being a naval power without having a navy, and of course about all these great shifts of power in the region, being Turkey being the biggest beneficial of all that. But I mean, clearly we know, all the issues there about the grain lanes, security issues for you, and all of that. What could you point out as the most important for you in terms of Black Sea region? Expectations, in addition to, of course, the war to end on good terms for you.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. Terviste. I'm very delighted and very pleased that Estonia, my native, I would say Estonia, because I used to live here for some time to spend here some time of my life. That I'm speaking here, and the trip to Estonia is my very first foreign trip abroad since the full scale. You know that men are not allowed to leave the country. And since then a lot has changed. For instance, I got new habits. For instance, I always take with me those two things, tourniquets. It's always better to have, there's a tourniquet. So it's always better to have not one but two tourniquets with you, just to know, let you know. And yeah, but this weekend, 2,000 kilometers from Tallinn, in another very close to my heart city, Munich, we could witness the tears in the eyes of the director of Munich Security Conference, and I think those tears symbolize that the current world order has just disappeared, has gone. And also, I think those tears are the sign of new political reality. That I don't know if you noticed, but just during the recent year, we could witness less and less usage of word values. We can also witness that, unfortunately, form is much more important than the content. I mean, in politics. We could also witness just very recently, a day ago, that somehow victim and aggressor are being, are not. So they are the same. They are equal. But in this war against Ukraine, I would even say in this aggression against Europe, the victim is quite understandable. It's Ukraine. And Ukraine now is actually as a battlefield and a shield of Europe against Russia and against its allies, which are North Korea, China for sure, and Iran. And this is the so-called new axis of evil. And probably one of the most important hotspots of this battlefield is Black Sea region. So Russia is still trying to control this region. Just only yesterday, Odessa was bombed, and 160,000 citizens of Odessa just right now they have no electricity. Just to compare, you can imagine that more than 1/3 of Tallinn has just the electricity has just disappeared in more than 1/3 of Tallinn. Still, Crimea is being militarized, and for sure, Russia needs this region because, first of all, of course, this is a vital corridor of movement of goods and resources. And if Europe loses this region, it may cause negative geopolitical and geo-economical consequences. And I would say even more that Russia and its allies, which I have already mentioned, they are not going to stop. This year, joint strategic military exercises of Belarus and Russia will be held, will take place. By 2030, Russia is going to create a new brigade or new brigades division of UAVs forces. And the number of these forces will be about 200,000, you can imagine. So is this a real threat to Europe? I think yes. Do we have to weep? No, and Ukraine has already shown that everything is possible when some of the countries just didn't give us any chance that Ukraine will survive during the 3 days. Now it's already 3 years of us defending. And yes, like as the minister of Estonia today in the morning said, the real guarantee of European security is NATO. Remember what I said? You need 2 tourniquets. So just to conclude, I would say that yes, enlargement needs security. Security needs bravery, and bravery needs unity. I know we are on the same page. I know I wouldn't even mention that we are in the same boat. I think right now we are in the same trenches. So I'm more than convinced, me as Ukrainian, I want to say it's not time to cry. Now it's time to wipe the tears away. And it's a true time to act, especially in the Black Sea region. So thank you for attention, and Aita.
Well, thank you very, very much. And I didn't realize that this is your first trip during the war, so welcome to Tallinn. So, okay, third, let me turn to Mr. Tacan Ildem. Yeah, the Turkish point of view. I mean, you have been a very, very important ally in the context of NATO. absolutely instrumental when the grain lanes were established, although Russia backed up away from them, but still clearly a gateway through to everything south of Black Sea. Where do you see the main challenges there for you at the moment? How to overcome? And I don't know whether you want to comment on the enlargement aspect as well, because this is stalled. But clearly, let me just confirm that I think, although the enlargement process has been stalled at the moment, I think that there's a wide understanding of the importance of Turkey. And of course, there is a desire to really improve the relations with Turkey, and really clearly the understanding that the strategic importance is there also for the European Union, not only in the context of NATO.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for including a Turkish voice to be present in this debate. I appreciate it, and it's always great to be back in Tallinn on different occasions. Now, I won't go into the details of hard security because the format of this meeting is beyond that, but maybe just to give a sense that we always focus on what has happened in 2022 with the second invasion of Ukraine by Russia. And we always say that it brought dramatic changes to the security environment in the Black Sea. But we have to recall what had happened in 2008 with the Georgia war, and one of the speakers were referring to it this morning, and also 2014 with the annexation of Crimea. And since especially 2014, we have seen Russia with the militarization of Crimea to use it as a jumping board to project power to the south. And they created anti-access area denial capabilities in Crimea to create an umbrella for the armed forces of Russia. Therefore, at that time, we were perhaps focusing too much on the maritime domain, but neglecting what could happen for other domains. And I think a holistic approach is needed to deal with every domain in Black Sea. And I will use the word holistic for other purposes. It is not only hard security, but also we are talking about economic prospects of the region, certain projects, and I know that my country, Turkey, has been investing on exploration of natural gas in Black Sea with Sakarya periphery, but also we know our friends in Romania for Neptune and our Bulgarian friends for Han Asparuh periphery to utilize their exclusive economic zone for their welfare. And it also touches upon the necessity to be cognizant of the existing protracted conflicts in the region. And I fully agree with my Georgian friend and colleague that we should not perhaps focus too much on the riparian states, but perhaps enlarge the scope and talk about greater, wider Black Sea region, since connectivity is becoming a major issue for the future, for the region, but also for the peoples of the region, and not only for the region, but Europe in general, because of the connectivity, will create benefits for the peoples of Europe. Now, this brings me to the necessity for a purposeful dialogue and cooperation. Turkey has always supported feasible, sustainable initiatives for the Black Sea. At the time, in the past, we had cooperative schemes like Black Sea economic cooperation. We also had military confidence building measures, but unfortunately, these didn't yield the expected results, especially because of one player in the equation. But the spirit is there, the cooperative spirit is there, which we can revive it in a larger scope. But right now, we have a trilateral cooperation encompassing 3 literal NATO allies, Bulgaria, Romania, and Turkey. And I think the drifting, floating mines were a real threat for the navigation and security in the Black Sea maritime region. And the 3 countries came up with the idea of mine countermeasure initiative, the group. The concept was developed. And I must say that I personally take pride belonging to one think tank which cooperated together with our Bulgarian and Romanian counterparts in producing a report. And in that report, we were emphasizing the need for this trilateral cooperation to tackle security issues, and this the mine countermeasure concept is a product of this thinking. So there is sometimes an influence of think tanks on the decisions of the governments, and we can take pride on that. Now, what I'm going to do is that we can take this trilateral cooperation as an example to expand it to other spheres. And the word holistic comes here, since hard security and what we are going to do in the maritime military capabilities would not be enough. We can also expand it to cooperation in economic and connectivity issues. And that's why our 3 think tanks also produce yet another report tackling the economic and energy dimension of our trilateral cooperation. Of course, without neglecting our partners. Ukraine and Georgia are very valuable partners that would be at certain point incorporated in these endeavors. One last point, since you mentioned the European Union enlargement, and we know that insofar as Turkey is concerned, we have heard officials saying that it is put on hold, and we know the reasons for that. I'm not going to dwell upon it. But in any case, even Turkey is not a candidate country. Even Turkey does not aspire to join the European Union. The geography will not change. Turkey will remain there. And Turkey is situated in a very critical crossroads. And if the European Union has the claim to play a geopolitical role, the EU cannot neglect the role and importance of Turkey. And this requires a purposeful dialogue and cooperation with Turkey as well. I give you one example. I mean, I'm not here to express certain misgivings about the European Union, but we are here as friends, and we have to be candid with each other. We are talking about serious economic projects. Take, for instance, electrical cable going under the Black Sea. Where are they passing? Passing through Turkish exclusive economic zone. Has Turkey been approached by the European Union and coordinated somehow? No. Is it normal? I'm not talking about accession talks. Put it aside. There may be certain nations, as you said, for national priorities and national policies can block engagement with Turkey. But I mean, not to consider Turkey existing on the map, to me, is to shoot yourself from the foot. And I don't think that it would be wise not to utilize the proper channels of communications and engagement so that Turkey could also make its contribution to the European ideal. I was ambassador to NATO in 2008 when the war in Georgia erupted. And prior to that, we were crying out our expectation for Turkey to be consulted, and not a single consultation took place at that time. So I leave it to your judgment, with the esteemed members of this audience, whether the European Union is utilizing the tools that it has in hand in engaging with third countries, since Turkey is referred to as third country, whether it is being fully and efficiently used or not. I leave it there for the time being.
Well, thank you very, very much for these important contributions. I understand that in addition to having a holistic approach, we have to see that basically enlargement is an opportunity, but we shouldn't get trapped in the process. That there are relations, no matter how the enlargement process is going on with each and single country. So point loud and clear. Thank you very, very much. Ioannis, floor to you. You are as the representative of both organizations and the literal country and friend.
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me here. It's a pleasure to be in Tallinn for this conference, and I would like to congratulate the organizers for putting up this very interesting and timely debate in worrying times that we pass. So you mentioned in your initial remarks how little attention the Black Sea was given in several important strategic documents over the last decades, I would say. And this is true. And what happened in the last 3 years after the Russian military aggression to Ukraine, I think transformed the strategic landscape and brought to the attention of everyone the importance of this area of the Black Sea. So over these last 3 years, we have seen tremendous suffering and destruction of civilian infrastructure. And we have seen in the Black Sea obstruction of freedom of navigation, obstruction of trade. All this with a clear effect of hampering the economic growth of the countries in the region. At the same time, the strategic value of the region acquired renewed relevance in the current context, and more people started to look into it seriously. At the same time, as you mentioned, the region has also tremendous potential. It's a potential, if we are talking about energy security, about trade, about connectivity. It's, if you want, it's a springboard towards Caucasus and Central Asia, even beyond towards Middle East. It proved its crucial importance in ensuring food security on a global scale. We remember very well the difficulties in ensuring the transit of Ukrainian grain exports through the Black Sea. And it also a crucial region if we are talking about the reconstruction of Ukraine. All these things considered, we clearly needed a new EU approach to the region, and the European Council in June last year mentioned in the conclusions the importance of the Black Sea, and our leaders tasked the Commission and the External Action Service with drawing a communication on the Black Sea. The current policy framework for the Black Sea of the European Union, which is the Black Sea Synergy, was adopted in 2007. So in 18 years, things have changed significantly. And we are in a different reality, and we need to take it into account, and we need to upgrade our approach. There are new threats and challenges, and this requires new instruments adapted to this strategic reality. So, a full-fledged EU strategy for the Black Sea would bring a positive influence of the European Union into the region, would allow the European Union to protect its interests and investments in the region, and it will open opportunities that I have already mentioned in trade, in energy security. It would allow the Black Sea to be also a source of boosting competitiveness, if you want, not only a source of geostrategic concern for the European Union. And of course, I know that you have debated during the day the enlargement issue, which is crucial in this context. It's a new logic of EU integration in the wider Black Sea, and the strategy I think would help us bring steadfast support for the candidate countries. We certainly hope to see the first negotiation chapters for Ukraine and Republic of Moldova open during the Polish presidency, and hopefully down the way we will also see Georgia resuming its European path. The strategy we see it as being complementary to the existing EU policies and instruments, and I'm speaking here about the Eastern Partnership, the Global Gateway, the EU Maritime Security Strategy, also the security commitments for Ukraine. And the strategic perspectives of the strategy are built probably on two major objectives: enhancing resilience for the European Union and strengthening development and cooperation potential with the candidate countries and beyond. As the main pillars for the strategy, I would identify two: security and connectivity. Security, understood as Ambassador Ildem also said, understood in a comprehensive way, not necessarily, not only hard security. It's security as economic security, as protection of critical infrastructure, of ensuring freedom of navigation, of ensuring global food security. So, of countering hybrid threats and FIMI, very important topic lately. And I speak as a Romanian. All these issues can be helped by a coherent strategy implemented in the region. About connectivity, obviously, the strategy can be a catalyst for like-minded partners to get closer to the European Union. It is also a major transit corridor. It was already mentioned. There are mentions of projects already. or ongoing or planned for the region. We have trade routes which link the region to Caucasus and Central Asia. So extremely important connectivity potential to be expanded and to the benefit of the entire region. And I was very glad that Ambassador Ildem spoke about Turkey's role in the region, which is absolutely crucial. The role and stance of Turkey needs to be taken into account, and I think this is an opportunity to strengthen the ties. This could be an opportunity to relaunch and re-engage and improve the dialogue and the relation between EU and Turkey in a win-win logic. We all remember the important contribution Turkey had. I mentioned already the difficulties of transit of Ukrainian grain and the role Turkey played in ensuring the Black Sea Grain Initiative and the transit of grains. And also, I'm happy that it was mentioned the MCM, the Naval Task Force that Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey, the three NATO members at the Black Sea, put together with very good results, trying to solve this problem of demining the Black Sea. And of course, I couldn't agree more that this very good example of regional cooperation can be extended, and the scope of this initiative can be extended to, I don't know, protecting submarine infrastructure, because we mentioned the offshore exploitations both in Turkey and Romania and Bulgaria. To stay in my allocated 5 to 7 minutes, I will go to try to conclude for now, saying that the EU policies have helped so far and contributed to regional cooperation in the Black Sea area. But this changing political landscape needs to be matched by an upgrade of our level of ambition in the area. And this strategy would mean exactly that, a more strategic approach for the Black Sea. And this, I'm sure it will be instrumental in promoting regional cooperation, resilience, and in a cooperation environment that would benefit both the riparian countries and Europe as a whole. So I will stop here and we'll continue. Thank you very much.
Before I give the floor to the audience, could you all just quickly try to answer one question? We've had all these regional strategies that several of you mentioned as well. We have had Eastern Partnership, where over the years security was less and less present. I remember we were discussing in Brussels, even counting whether we started like mentioning security 50 times when the policy was created, then almost zero at the end. We were so afraid facing the security issues in the eastern neighborhood. We just didn't. I think we were living in a collective denial, basically. Then, of course, after the push by certain member states, there was this security dimension created under the Eastern Partnership. At the moment, I think the Eastern Partnership more or less is basically sitting on the shelf. We don't know what's going to happen to that. So let's leave it that way. We have 3 Cs that almost doesn't include security element. All hard security issues also now during Russia's aggression is taken care of by the NATO presence, increased presence in the region. And you mentioned several forms of cooperation that has been taking place. The EU is still very much seen as contributor to the security through economy, through the connectivity, through everything else. Do you see that actually EU should start establishing also a security role more widely? basically build up this leg also of its existence. We know, of course, what's happening in Brussels in terms of our own defense discussions, but really for the region. Or if it is not an EU, what kind of defense structure to actually should be established after the war? Because obviously we have non-NATO members there. How could you contribute to the same issues that others? Because this is all common problems that you are talking about. Maybe I could just maybe then do. You would like to ask the floor first, and then we will do revise.
I think it would be prudent on the part of the European Union to reinforce security through economic means, rather than traveling the path of what NATO allies within the umbrella of NATO is doing.
Okay.
We always claim that there is complementarity but no competition in cooperation between NATO and the European Union. Therefore, it would be essential to leave certain domains to the activities of the organization that we are talking about, NATO. Now, if I may add just one element which can be incorporated in the discussion. You mentioned 3Cs initiative of the European Union, which is very important. Nevertheless, there is another connectivity project, Middle Corridor, that Turkey also is investing a lot, and it goes beyond Black Sea, reaching to Caucasus and Central Asia, and it will provide the necessary environment that not only the regional countries, but countries of the European Union at large would benefit out of it. So I think ways and means could be developed to have some sort of a linkage between 3Cs initiative and Middle Corridor. It could be one way to reflect on how these connectivity projects can mean better to reach a win-win situation. And of course, being a Turk, I couldn't stop myself but mention the Montreux Convention, which is something dear to our hearts. Turkey is playing a custodian role in fully and faithfully implementing this convention. You may all recall that on the 22nd of February, Russia launched its war in Ukraine, and under the pretext of special military operations, quote unquote. And after 3 days, it was Turkey who qualified it as a war and invoked relevant provisions of Montreux Convention to close the straits to war ships. And some consider Montreux Convention to be an obstacle in boosting deterrence and defense of NATO. But on the contrary, it is a safeguard of stability and security. It is a multiplier of security. I can tell you that there were numerous démarches on the part of Russia to bring their vessels from outside the Black Sea to the Black Sea, which were all denied. Therefore, we should also take this into consideration. On resilience, I fully agree with the ambassador that we should make sure that in the months and years to come, the European Union, the riparian states, and all others should tackle undersea cable infrastructure. The critical infrastructure protection is part of our resilience, in addition to hybrid warfare taking place in different forms, like FIMI disinformation campaigns, and there is room to cooperate. And one last thing, since we are talking about the wider Black Sea region, and I mentioned the existence of protracted conflicts, EU's positive influence could be injected by economic projects, by supporting this connectivity projects, so that they can serve as a confidence-building measure for any protracted conflict resolution that we aim at. And there is one prospect of peace settlement, since we had a friend and colleague from Armenia who took the floor in the morning. The peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan can be reached, and I'm sure that if we have economic measures and connectivity projects to reinforce it, it would be something of a win-and-win nature.
Thank you. I pass the floor to Mr. Kyiak. I mean, your comments.
Since I'm not from the EU country, at least for now, well, from my speech it was quite obvious what I'm thinking about the security in Europe. So for sure, there must be more security in European continent. I can also mention here just recent Zelensky's initiative in Munich, where when he said that there must be probably created some kind of European army. Well, probably it's very hard to implement this initiative, but still, I think this is quite interesting idea. I remember I was speaking in Mariupol in 2016 at the regional city library. I think it's already ruined, this library, unfortunately, by Russians. And I was speaking exactly about should Europe be more secured and should Europe has its own army. And we still have the same debate. But I think now in the new reality, in new security reality, I would say, yes, we have to pay more attention to security. Just you can just look at Ukraine and how important that is. I think that those words belong to one of the presidents of Latvia. I think of the previous president. He said that for us, NATO means life and EU means a good life. I think it's time to have a good and secure life. And I would conclude with the words of my good friend, former lecturer at the Tallinn Technical University of Latvia Nihora. He is now fighting at the Azov Brigade, one of the best brigades of Ukrainian army. Probably some of you know him. And I just asked him, I was preparing for this panel, I would ask what would you like to tell to European, to Estonian audience. He said, I'm not the president, what should I say? I'll just send you my article, my recent article, which is actually, it's not published yet, but it should be published. And I will quote Vlad with the following words. EU has to remind itself that it's not made of sugar candy. Thank you.
Okay, how do I go from here now? Okay, please, you have your comments.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll start with comments with our Turkish colleague that if 2 months ago we would say, even 1 week ago, I would agree with you exactly with everything, that connectivity, all this economic cooperation, everything is very important. But the problem is that I think what we need is kind of scanning of the security perception of the Black Sea countries, which was not done properly worldwide, because there might be a little bit different perception or misperception how the certain countries literal or illiteral see their security. Of course, Turkish position is a little bit different because it's a NATO member country, it can defend itself, but when we have a revisionist power, Russia, which launched this war, and we don't know where this ends and who could be the next target, I think, and also, as you see in the Munich Security Forum discussion, and also what we see now in this Riyadh discussion, that Russia wants to push NATO from basically from vicinity or in the neighborhood. So it means that if that thing is going to realize, it means that NATO cannot, act like usual before. And we know that Russia has a specific accent on NATO, unlike maybe EU. Of course, they are not happy with EU enlargement as well, but in terms of NATO presence, and we know that they are very sensitive about this. So this means that there might be a little bit sensitivities to countries like Georgia, because we have now witnessed that Russia, because of this mosquito fleet success in Ukraine, we see that they have huge problems where to hide their navy, and they're using even Ochamchira. They're trying to build this like port in Ochamchira, potentially to use it for their own navy. Of course, there's still a lot of question, when they're going to build this, facility or what they do. But this is already creates a lot of problem also for a country like Georgia, and we also don't know. For instance, if I hope that this settlement of the Ukrainian conflict will happen soon, but if not. If Ukraine will decide somehow to, reciprocate Russia, and how this could implicate for Georgia's security. And I think in that sense, yes, connectivity, all these projects are very important. But what also EU needs to do is, first of all, maybe to start this security scan, how the countries and they see this present situation. And also maybe promote this dialogue, for instance, like on rotational base, to convene at least some annual conferences on different matters, including energy security, connectivity, some other, to start promote this kind of dialogue, and then also to talk about security again, because frontline states like Ukraine, Georgia, even Moldova, they have absolutely different challenges, and I think that EU's role is very important here. Again, NATO cannot really play a role much here with these current circumstances. Of course, it doesn't mean that EU needs also to cooperate with NATO, especially also with UK, actually. As far as I know, UK, even France, they have discussion about Black Sea security, and they, probably some of you know that they even organizing the conferences very soon. So it means that there's an understanding in Europe that Black Sea becoming kind of very important. Of course, still, I think that still there's a lot of things needs to be done, but the EU also needs a little bit to reevaluate itself, and we also need some sort of, how to say, kind of responsible agency or state, for instance, who will take care about this. For instance, we know that like France is in Italy, they taking care about the Mediterranean security and all this issue, because for them this is very important. But who will take care about Black Sea security? I know this is Romania traditionally, but then we need also probably one of the heavyweights who will push this, and in order to make this decision, you probably know this better, and it's not easy also to reconcile the different concepts how these things may work. And I think this also requires the involvement of these regional countries, candidate countries as well. And I think, of course, Turkey is very important there because of this Montreux Convention and other issues. I think this is probably probably our reflection from my side.
Okay, thank you. And Ambassador, you have the last word on this.
Very little to add to my distinguished co-panelist. Just to say that NATO was mentioned, that Romania always advocated for a consolidation of the eastern flank of NATO, which includes the Black Sea segment. And of course, we hope to see an enhanced cooperation between EU and NATO in the region. But I wanted also to mention, because also the 3 Seas initiative was mentioned, and the linkage between economy and security, and I think they are intertwined, economy and security, and the 3 Seas initiatives, they have some, they already developed some projects of transport, of infrastructure, just to mention Via Carpathia and Rail to Sea, which I think are beyond an economic relevance. They clearly increase the resilience of the entire region, having these projects completed, this 3 Seas initiative, now it's a regional initiative which goes from Estonia in the north to Romania and Bulgaria at the Black Sea. Having this kind of transport projects implemented goes beyond mere economic relevance, and I think it has a clear contribution also to the resilience of the region, and it will be extremely important also in the perspective of reconstruction. Mm-hmm. So I'll stop here.
I mentioned it twice already, so it's an important point. Yeah, Mr. Blockmans, do we still have 5 minutes for questions? Good, thank you. Are there any questions from the audience? Yes, please. Please introduce yourself as well.
Thank you for good discussion. I'm Hovannes from Estonian School of Diplomacy student. I would like to ask question speaker from Turkey. You mentioned about Armenia. Also, you mentioned how important is connectivity and communication structures for Black Sea region. But as I know, Turkey keep closed the border with Armenia due to Armenian government suggest crossroads of peace project, which mean open all connectivities in the region. We already see, from my opinion, good progress between Armenia and Turkey, like about diplomatic relation. What's your opinion about that programs, and do you see any progress in the future? Thank you.
Well, first of all, I have to have the caveat that I don't represent the government. I have already relinquished my duties as a public servant, so whatever I say is coming from a Turkish intellectual. I consider what we are at this point in time a window of opportunity to reach a peace settlement between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And I know that my government, being an outsider, but still I know that my government is supportive of these efforts to reach to a peace settlement. It is a much needed one. I have witnessed different segments of the continuation of this conflict, having served as ambassador to the OSCE, and all the discussions that Minsk co-chairs were taking forward. But unfortunately, there was a stalemate, and there was no room for any resolution. But right now, there is a genuine opportunity to reach a sustainable peace in the region. And if such a peace settlement is reached, I'm sure that whatever obstacles for the diplomatic relations to be established between Armenia and Turkey, and all the connectivity that you mentioned, because I don't like the term close borders, because we know that there are regular flights between the two countries, and there is a degree of connectivity already there. But recognizing the importance of your question, I'm sure that when peace settlement is reached between Armenia and Azerbaijan, it will pave the way for the establishment of diplomatic ties between Turkey and Armenia, and also normalization of these relations will bring about the necessary circumstances for better connectivity.
Thank you. Are there any more questions? If not, then let me just conclude by thanking you. I understand that we have to establish a holistic approach, include some more countries around this table. I understand that there are some differing views whether the health security should be provided by one or both organizations. I didn't get really a good answer about the post-war security structure, whether there is any separate structure needed, or we can actually get by with existing ones if we just manage to implement them. But as Ukrainian representative said, we all want to have a good and safe life. So this is where we aim, and of course we really hope that the enlargement will help to maintain the attention to the region and in a good way and bring you all closer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.